How many discounts does USAA Auto Insurance offer? Too many to say here. Multi-vehicle discount, safe driver discount, new vehicle discount, storage discount, legacy.
How many discounts will you stack up? Visit USAA.com/auto discounts. Restrictions apply.
Hey, it's Paris. You know I love sparkly things, right? Like stars. Duh. And thanks to Hilton and Auto Camp, I just slept under them. Picture me, serving looks by the fire outside my luxurious Airstream, making s'mores with the kids, while a national park is our backdrop. The great outdoors meets Hilton hospitality. That's hot. Explore all the new ways to stay at Hilton.com. Hilton for the stay.
Today, we're diving into the life of Isabella d'Este, the Renaissance's ultimate woman of influence. Born into the powerful Este family, Isabella wasn't just a duchess. She was a visionary patron, a savvy political player, and a cultural trailblazer. Her passion for art, fashion, and humanism helped shape one of the most vibrant courts in Italy. From commissioning works by legendary artists to carefully crafting her public image, Isabella mastered the art of power in the world dominated by men. Join me, Rebecca Larson, as we uncover the fascinating story of this remarkable woman who redefined what it meant to be a Renaissance lady. Isabella d'Este was born into brilliance. The daughter of Ercole d'Este and Eleanor of Aragon, she was raised amid art, music, and political power. Trained by respected scholars, most notably Mario Equicola, who taught her Latin and later became her trusted secretary. Isabella flourished intellectually and artistically. Her talents as a musician were celebrated at court, and at 16 she married Francesco Gonzaga, Marchese of Mantua. She would bear 7 children, including Federico II, who succeeded his father, and Ercole, a future cardinal. With the ducal palace, Isabella curated a world of beauty and knowledge. A studiolo and grotto brimming with rare books, ancient gems, coins, sculptures, and commissioned paintings. A studiola is a small private room, often lavishly decorated, that was popular in Renaissance Italy as a place for study, contemplation, and display of collections. She was a woman who pursued antiquities with fierce enthusiasm, and she turned collecting, fashion, and patronage into a form of power. Through these acts, she forged a public identity that defied the expectations placed upon women of her time. Isabella's flair for fashion was both personal expression and political statement. Her letters to her sister Beatrice reveal a woman who understood the language of silk, velvet, and cut as well as she understood Latin verse. She sent emissaries across Europe, searching not just for luxury textiles, but for the spirit of innovation stitched into foreign styles. Isabella knew the power of an image. In an age before photography, a portrait wasn't just decoration, it was presence, influence, identity. Her likeness, cast in metals and painted by the finest artists of her time, allowed her to be seen and remembered, even from afar. In 1498, she commissioned a gold medal bearing her portrait and an inscription, "For those who do her service." It wasn't simply a gift, it was a message. One ornate, jewel-encrusted copy was proudly displayed in her private grotto, beside a cherished antique cameo, both symbols of taste and legacy. Perhaps the most famous image of Isabella came a year later, in 1499, when Leonardo da Vinci visited Mantua. He drew her profile, book in hand, a striking portrait that captured not just her features, but her intellect and ambition. Isabella loved it. She had it copied several times, likely so that versions of her could circulate through the courts of Europe. each whispering her cultivated image into the minds of allies and rivals alike. But as the years passed, Isabella stepped away from the painter's chair. After 1516, she sat for no more portraits. So when she reached out to Titian in 1534, she was 60 years old. He had to rely on earlier depictions to recreate her likeness. But then Isabella had moved into a new wing of the Ducal Palace, more private, more reflective. There she designed a serene walled garden and constructed a new studiolo and grata, quiet sanctuaries for thought, art, and memory. Just as her portraits had always intended, she had made herself unforgettable. Isabella was never free to move outside the tightly woven expectations of her role. As a noblewoman, and later a ruler, she walked a fine line. Court ladies were meant to be paragons of virtue, pious, learned, chaste, and above all, loyal to husband and family. These virtues were non-negotiable. Yet at court, the power of wealth and display was also a language, a way to speak without words. That tension between modesty and magnificence defined Isabella's public life. Within these constraints, Isabella carved out influence. Like other noblewomen, she had her own income and entourage, giving her the ability to commission altarpieces, tapestries, illuminated manuscripts, even entire chapels. Her patronage extended to churches and monastic institutions, and she lent her support to the canonization of local saints. But it wasn't just about faith, it was about legacy. Isabella wanted to be remembered as a model of chastity and fidelity. To that end, she sought out paintings that depicted legendary women who had protected their virtue, visual affirmations of her moral identity. Financially, she had to be strategic. Her budget was limited, so instead of always commissioning new pieces, she cleverly acquired secondhand works of high quality. And she didn't stop with visual arts. Through her patronage of writers, composers, and painters, Isabella began shaping her image in real time. She understood that reputations could be curated, not just earned. In the 1490s, she even commissioned her court artist, Andrea Mantegna, to design a monument to the ancient Roman poet Virgil, born near Mantua, and a figure of literary prestige. Though the project never made it past the planning stages, the intent was clear. Isabella was aligning herself with the timeless legacy of humanist thought. Isabella's studiolo, the private jewel box chamber where intellect met imagination, became a canvas not just for art, but for identity. She knew that paintings could speak as powerfully as words, and so she called upon Andrea Mantegna, one of the finest artists of her day, to fill the walls with meaning. These were not casual commissions. Each work was the product of intricate planning. The poet Parida Charasara and the renowned Venetian humanist Pietro Bembo helped devise the elaborate allegorical programs that would dictate every symbol, every gesture. To some artists, these strict guidelines were stifling. Mantegna himself bristled at the limitations, but Isabella was undeterred. Such oversight was customary in her family, and besides, she had a vision to uphold. Mantegna completed Parnassus in 1497, a celebration of poetic inspiration, and later Pallas expelling the vices, a visual testament to virtue triumphing over corruption. Both works echoed Isabella's ideals and her desire to be seen as a paragon of Renaissance virtue, learned, disciplined, and morally unshakable. Even after Mantegna's death, her pursuit continued. A surviving correspondence details her commission of the Battle of Love and Chastity from 1505 from Pietro Perugino. It was not enough to own beautiful things. They had to say something about who she was and what she stood for. Isabella's studiolo was more than a gallery. It was a shrine to classical knowledge and personal legacy. Her collection of antiquities reflected this as well. Among her treasures was a gift from Caesar Borgia, an antique statue of Venus paired with a Cupid sculpted by none other than Michelangelo in the antique style. She later acquired an ancient Greek Cupid attributed to Praxiteles himself, purchased directly from Pope Julius II. These were not mere trophies. They were proof of her erudition and taste. By 1542, an inventory of her possessions told the full story. 1,620 items cataloged. Coins, medals, gems, vases, and over 200 books. Each object served a purpose. Her studiolo was her sanctuary, and her statement, a space where virtue met grandeur, and where Isabella shaped not only the art, but the very memory of herself. From art patron to political strategist, Isabella d'Este showed the strength and influence comes in many forms. Her life was a masterclass in navigating power, culture, and gender expectations, a legacy that continues to inspire. As we look back, Isabella's story encourages us to challenge boundaries and craft our own destinies.